He's living proof that comeback can be bigger than the setback. He opens doors to second chances and generational wealth. Man, this is going to be real. This is going to be raw. This is going to be something you're not going to forget. Just pay attention and listen and learn.
Without any mess, there is no message. And so that's what really qualifies us to do what we do and be who we are in this world as leaders, is that we've been through the fire, right? We've been purged through the fire. And my fire was the streets and identity crisis and finding myself and the consequences that are associated with that by landing in the criminal justice system in California, not once, not twice, but 3 times, of transforming an identity crisis, of evolving into who you really are. That shit is uncomfortable. But what is more uncomfortable is living in regret.
We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Fanale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. Again, here we are. Welcome, everybody. This is Real Estate Talk TGIF. Today is August 15th, 2025. I want to welcome everybody to this edition. We have a lot of greats on this broadcast. We've had my good friend John Cheplak, Bill Pipes. We've had Greg Harrelson. We've had Brett Sikora. We've had Dan Beer, Kyle Whistle, Elias Estudo, Kenny Trung, Kenny Fast people of your company, right? But today we also have Vernon Williams. Vernon Williams, man, this week, let me tell you something. We're not just talking doing real estate. We're talking destiny. We're talking, coming from a Yankees draft pick to a prison cell to become one of the Bay Area's top real estate agents, national speaker, coach. He builds leaders. He just doesn't work with agents. He's living proof that comeback can be bigger than the setback. He opens doors to second chances and generational wealth. Man, this is going to be real. This is going to be raw. This is going to be something you're not going to forget. Just pay attention and listen and learn. Vernon Williams III. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, brother. It's a pleasure to be in your space, and hearing the lineup that you've had as guests. This really is an honor to me to be in this platform with you, highlighted behind some of the industry leaders across the world. I'm grateful.
It's fun, man. I mean, I'm just setting up my second camera here. I'm a little bit behind. So anyway, but one of the things that we do is we give back as much as we possibly can. And I have a session right before this. I also had an investor session like 2 minutes before you came on that I had to finish up. It was, had to get a lot of information. But, it's really important for me to do these broadcasts. I started because I saw someone do a real shitty job. And I said, I can show up every week. And I have for 372 in a row. But, man, I got to start with one question, which is probably one of the most important questions I will ever ask you. What does TGIF stand for?
Well, my first thing that comes to mind, brother, is thank God it's Friday.
Yeah. Most people say that.
Okay. Am I off there?
Oh, yeah.
You created something.
Really simple. I mean, it's right. It's staring me right in the face. It's thank God it's Fanale. There's no question about that.
Of course. How could I miss that one?
I know. So, all right. Enough about me. Well, actually, it's all about me. No, I'm just kidding. All right, man. Your story, your journey, man. I mean, it's one that probably has made you the greatness of what you are and who you are today. Talk to us about your journey. What happened to you? Where were you from? Where did you start? How did you get where you are today? Why are you here?
Yeah, man, great. A series of great questions. Well, top of the morning from San Francisco Bay Area. It's 8:00 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, Dave, that is a loaded question, my brother, because my journey to this place and this platform is pretty unique in comparison to a lot of people who are probably in the real estate space, man. I didn't start off with a desire to get in real estate. I started off with a desire to become a professional baseball player, period, the end. I've played baseball my entire life and was blessed enough to culminate my career with being drafted by the New York Yankees. Go Yankees, American League, go Giants, National League. And, that is what I thought that my future consisted of, bro. I ate baseball, slept baseball, dreamt baseball, lived baseball, ate baseball, used the bathroom thinking about baseball, went to school thinking about baseball. I mean, you know, I never missed a game. I'm a baseball player through and through. I just turned 50 3 days ago. It's Leo season in the building.
Yes,
And
it is.
I still play baseball to this very day. And so that's what I thought my future entailed. But God has a way of directing your path or making your mistakes actually align you in the direction that he initially intended for you to go. Blew me away. So, bro, I went from baseball, being drafted by the New York Yankees, to sitting in San Quentin State Prison back in 1996, 1997, becoming a 3-strike convicted felon in one offense, you know, and that completely changed the direction and the trajectory of my life. And so living that baseball world, playing at the highest levels, and now I'm sitting in a 4x7 cell, locked down 23 and a half hours a day, you know, basically because I suffered from an identity crisis like many men do who were raised fatherless in this country. You know, if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. And so that led me to experiencing the dark side of the criminal justice system in California from 19 to 29. So I spent the duration of my 20s building my testimony. I'll say it that way, because without any mess that we go through, we won't have a message, right? So
yeah, that's interesting. I like that.
Straight up, bro. I mean, you know, without any mess, there is no message. And so that's what really qualifies us to do what we do and be who we are in this world as leaders, is that we've been through the fire, right? We've been purged through the fire. And my fire was the streets and identity crisis and finding myself and the consequences that are associated with that by landing in the criminal justice system in California, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And so stepping into entrepreneurialism, trying to find myself, it's not baseball. What is it going to be? Because again, I lived, dreamt, drank, ate, slept baseball. Started to get an understanding that we go through what we go through in life, man, to be a testament to others. And so what that led me to do is really began to get involved in criminal justice reform. Back around 2005, 6, and 7 is when I launched my first company. I've been an entrepreneur since 07. So that's 18 years running strong, not working for anyone, and kind of like building the ship as I sail, leading the ship, and being profitable at that. Got into criminal justice reform work, of course, naturally become an expert in criminal justice reform because I have the CDC numbers, but then also went back to school and got my undergrad in criminal justice reform. And so in California, in the Bay Area, that positioned me as an expert in criminal justice reform. So what I had done was began to build a bridge between those who are falling in the cracks of the education system and those who are reintegrating back into our communities from incarceration, ensuring that they have a network system of services set for them that they can plug into that will create adequate resources for self-sufficiency. And I did that until COVID. When COVID hit, bro, it showed me how vulnerable my business model was. We were in multiple school sites, partnered with multiple school districts all throughout the Bay Area, and suddenly, no access. Everything shuts down. We thinking it's going to be for a week, and we think it's going to be for a month, and we thinking it's going to be for 6 months, and that turned into like 3 years. And where that left me was in this valley. What am I going to do now?
Right.
Where am I going to go?
Right.
Wasn't baseball. It's not this work that I'm doing that I've now become nationally recognized as an expert in this work. What now? I was having a conversation with one of my good friends who has been in real estate for over 20 years. And, you know, I was just inquiring, looking for what the next open door was for me. Mind you, it's COVID. All doors are shut. Nothing is happening. Everyone's wearing these damn masks, a paper, right? There's not any germs from getting out or coming in, right? But what am I going to do now? That's when I discovered real estate. My colleague said, you know what? You would thrive in this environment. All the work that you've done up to this point has prepared you for, something for this type of industry to thrive in this industry. And so I jumped hands and feet in. I was looking for something. I was hungry, right? So I jumped hands and feet into real estate and didn't know anything about the real estate market. Couldn't tell you what a contingency was. Couldn't tell you what an RPA is, a residential purchase agreement. Couldn't tell you what negotiations, EMD. No understanding of any language, functionalities, processes, systems that were involved real estate, none whatsoever. So she taught me everything that I learned, everything that I knew, but I knew when I got into this space that I didn't really want to be in production long term, that there were so many different avenues in the real estate space. I just had to find what my lane was. And, being a leader, being a coach in the baseball world,
right.
I'm a natural developer, natural coach. Standards, systems, processes, operations, fundamentals, techniques, repeat, rinse and repeat until we perfect it. I found that experience leading up to me stepping into real estate had prepared me for what I do today, which is a performance coach for one of the top teams within eXp Realty. Shout out to Team Fast, shout out to Kenny, shout out to my colleague, Elias. And so that's how I've gotten here. And it's just been this tsunami of a journey for me, man, being in this space, finding my lane, really understanding that there's a message that I have that is relatable and is receptive to a lot of people nationwide. And that blew me away. So Dave, one thing led to another. You and I met through our intensity, ultimate accountability, high level coaching program. Facilitated by myself and my colleague Elias Astudo, who everyone it probably knows, and that's how you and I met. And the doors have just been opening, bro. I've only been in real estate for 3 years.
Yeah, it's interesting just to talk about how we met and everything. I do my best to attend a lot of things, and over the past few years, I've decided that I can't go to all these things. I mean, number one. Most of these things that you go to that have this big glitz and shit is in Vegas. I hate Vegas, so I want to stay away from that city as much as possible.
You must have gotten into some trouble out there once or twice in your younger life.
I've never been in trouble in Vegas ever. I think. I remember riding a bull once, but that was beside the point. And I was feeling no pain at that time. Anyway, I digress. But meeting people and being in the right rooms is really important. With the intensity thing this year, I was in the right room. I knew I was in the right room because I met Elias in the right room. Dan Beer and Kyle Whistle and Brent Gove, and I met all these people in the right room. Leo Pareja, I met him in the right room. John Cheplak, I met him when he was just starting. I don't even know if he was sober yet when I first met him and started working with him.
Wow.
So him and I have known each other a very, very long time. And through my relationship with John, I've gone to a lot of events that John is at. Right. And it's really important to be in the right room. I remember just really quickly this year, I was deciding whether I wanted to go to Benson's spring break. And I thought about it. I saw I was going to be there. And I said, that's the right room. So I decided 3 days before I went. So now it's like, I know I go to 3 events a year. That's it. I go to that one. I go to Cheplak's Tahoe event and I go to EXPCon. That's it. Right. Cool. I might go to some other local ones. But that's beside the point. Why do I say all this? Because it's important when you go to the right rooms, you meet the right people. And that's why I have 377 episodes here. Right. Because I've met the right people. I've been intrigued by the right people. And you and I met through this program and we were intrigued by each other.
Yes.
I want to get to your transition from, the entrepreneurship into real estate.
Yeah.
Because we can talk about the past, we can talk about all the things and trials and tribulations you went through, but this is one thing that I want to talk about because I think it's near and dear to a lot of agents where they get into the business and they really don't know what they're going to get into, right? Mm-hmm. And you said when you got into real estate that you knew you didn't want to be in production.
Correct.
Okay. Why'd you get into real estate then?
What other options did I have in 2020, 21, right? I didn't have any other options.
Okay.
What I had felt was going to be, I thought my purpose for existence was reaching the unreachable and teaching the unteachable, right? I felt that empowering individuals who have fallen through the cracks and landed in the criminal justice system, or who contribute to the dropout rate, in education, I thought that empowering them and inspiring them to really discover their true superpower was my purpose for existence. All of a sudden that shuts down. What the hell am I going to do now?
Okay.
Right. And so real estate became just
a vehicle,
a brainstorming, bro, for hell long. Like, yo, I'm like a fish out of water right now. This is what my education is in. This is what my life's experience is in. I'm flopping around like a fish out of water. Where's my next step? So
two things. Number one, a lot of agents get into this business not knowing what they have to do. And one of the words I wrote down when I was going to say didn't want to be in production, why? I wrote the word underneath that, I swear to God, fish.
Really?
Yeah. And here's why.
Okay.
Because the important part of agents is that they a lot of them don't know what they're getting into, right? And they don't want to follow up. People say they're lazy. No, they're not lazy. They just didn't know that that was the entry fee. They didn't know that that's what they would have to do, is call people or follow up. Follow up is one thing. That's a different story. But they didn't know they were going to have to lead gen. They figured they'd walk in, give me a lead. I go to a house, I sell a house, I fill out a contract, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will criticize agents for not being productive, for being stupid, lazy. They don't show up. All right. Well, here's the thing. They get apathetic, because it's like you cannot blame a fish for its ability to climb a tree.
Correct.
That's why I wrote down fish. It's one of my favorite lines that I've ever heard, because we have to take one person to be something that they might want to do, and they should learn quickly enough whether they want to be in it or not. Mm-hmm. Your plan was a lot different, is that you saw what you could be because of your past and how you helped a lot of people. You figured, okay, I can learn this gig and I can help a lot of people with it. And damn it, you actually freaking done it and been able to move forward. So with all this being said, and talking about fish out of water, because they're not supposed to be out of water, where do we take agents, and how do we make them productive when they realize, oh shit, I really didn't want to do this. Do I want to do it? It's not, some of them don't have the fear of picking up the phone. They don't want to. I don't want to, but I have to do it. Right. So talk to me about a transition there from, whatever life it is, or because nobody really thinks about being a real estate agent in high school, but they get out and years later they transition. How do we get them to be that fish out of water to be able to climb that tree?
Well, we already know that fish are not designed to climb trees.
Yep.
Right. We know that. But man, it really boils down to this, Dave. It's the mindset. Okay. For me personally, at that time of despair and desperation and really seeking out something, I was willing to do whatever it took. Although I knew I didn't want to do production, I was willing to do whatever it took to be successful. That was a mindset. I didn't know shit about real estate, like nothing. Okay. But my mindset was whatever I'm going to grasp hold of, I'm going to hold on to it, learn what I can learn, get what I'm supposed to get, and then apply my standards, my discipline, my consistency, and my commitment to that decision and thrive at it. So it was a mindset for me, man. Whatever I put my hands to, I'm going to thrive at it, period, the end, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, or whether it's indifferent. Okay. So it's a mindset. It's a mindset. 100. Sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do to get places that we really want to go, period, the end. Right. And so that was my mindset coming into it. Whatever I have to do to learn this. And my colleague at that time who brought me into the business, their sentiment was, I'm going to teach you everything I know, and you can learn while you earn. Okay. So I went into it grateful, hands and feet. Mind you, the whole economy is shut down. But my mindset is, I'm going to learn, apply myself, I'm going to implement this discipline, this consistency, and make a commitment to myself that I'm going to thrive at this. And that's exactly what I did.
So exactly. It's exactly what you did. In relatively short period of time, you've grown from agent to great coach. I mean, it was actually what you were coaching. You've always coached,
Yeah.
right? And you just had to turn your discipline over to something that would work. I like to call it the vehicle that we use to get from A to B. And I want to talk a little bit about how you got there, right? So you knew you wanted to do what others did as far as coaching. So talk to me about your process. I mean, you took a Zillow Flex team from zero to hero almost, right? Talk to me about that process and what you had to do in order to get your team from number 16 to number 1.
Yeah, man. So that was a natural evolution. I got to give a shout out to, my partner, Elias Astudo. He is, if you haven't gotten a dose of him, tap into our environment, follow him if you have to, but get a dose of his energy, his drive, his commitment, his passion. And so him and I connected immediately as soon as my colleague at the time was telling me about Team Fast and what they, mind you, I don't know anything about real estate. So I don't know who the hell Kenny Trong is or Elias Astudo at that time. Yes, they're big, they're heavyweights in the business. I had no idea who they were. So when we connected, I naturally stepped into production. I got to put food on the table. It's COVID. I got to eat, man. Yep. You know what I mean? So I'm going to show these homes. I'm going to spend all this damn gas. I'm going to put all this mileage on my vehicle because I needed to eat. But I had always shared with Elias, bro, it's something more for me in this space. I think I want to step into the coaching realm and really learn more about that. Circumstances and situations provided the opportunity for me to do so. And what had happened is my partner, his name is Dan, he was running the Zillow Flex team. And then he went on a 6-week backpacking trip to Europe and needed someone to fill in his absence to hold down the Flex program. And I volunteered. I'll do it, right? And got into the system, got in the back end and started to see the condition of our Flex team. We started to perform a SWOT analysis. What's missing? What do we need to, change? And Elias's directive was simple. Move the needle, Vernon. Whatever you have to do to move the needle. We are a top producing team within EXP. We need to be the top producing team in the San Francisco Bay Area as a Zillow partner. And that's exactly what I did, man. I moved the needle, started by rebuilding the existing system that was in place, tightening up some bolts, removing some stuff, adding new things. We basically replaced the engine, right? We changed.
Talk to me about your engine. Talk to me about some of the pieces that were critical. Reason is because a lot of times, look, in my past, I was a Century 21 broker for 21 years. I would go to events and people would say, we did this, we did that, and look at us now. They would never tell you what they did. Tell me a little bit of what you did.
Man, here's the judge right here. We started with standards. We set a standard. Okay. A standard is a non-negotiable. Okay. It's a clear, consistent expectation that defines how we're going to operate. It provides clarity. It builds trust, right, within your team. It protects the brand. So we started with setting a non-negotiable standard of expectation around how agents are going to engage and how we as leaders are going to run this program. Now, mind you, when I got into this seat, we were at the threat of disengagement. When we got into this seat, we were at the bottom of the rung as it relates to rankings within the San Francisco Bay Area for all the Zillow partners. It started with standards. We had to rebuild the system and reinforce and hold that line. We say something in our environment all the time. You move the standard no longer exists. We have been unwavering about creating the standard, holding the standard, enforcing the standard without exception, training to the standard, modeling the standard, and setting acceptance levels that are non-negotiable, period, the end. If you build it, Dave, you're a baseball player. You saw Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
We have to build it.
So I want to add some really important things to this, right? So I'm not throwing this word standard around. I'm not throwing this word discipline around. I'm not throwing the word principles around, because those are the three most important things. And one of the things that I learned from John Cheplack was that your standard is what your lowest producer is doing. So, I mean, this is going to be critical to most teams out there, to most brokerages. So if you have an agent doing nothing and you allow it, nothing is your standard.
Exactly.
Okay. It's also, you know, and it's the same thing with keeping that standard. And what's the old expression about the momentum for a baseball team? It's as good as your next day's starting pitcher.
Yep.
Right. So they've got to keep the standard. It's a matter of momentum and movement. Right. And John will say people move the money. Right. Well, people move your business higher. People move a fast team. Team Fast is one of the top teams in EXP. Aligned, which I am with, is, I think we're number 4 now. I'm not sure. But the point is that standards are really important, and that's why you grow. That's how you grow.
Correct.
So you would set standards. You changed your protocols, right? You got a performance management system. What was the process, but was it difficult to do, or was it just, this is the way it's going to be, this is the way we're going to do it? So did you make an overnight shift to do that?
It was pretty drastic. It was pretty drastic, because drastic times call for drastic
measures.
Right? 100%. And as I said before, we were at the brink of disengagement, right? Period. The end. We were literally being considered of being dropped as a Zillow partner. And so Elias, again, gave me the charge of move the needle. Whatever you have to do to move the needle, do it. And so I took that literally. It was an immediate change. And, you know, there are a bunch of moving parts around that.
Yeah.
What's important is that, you know, we've got to set the standard and then enforce it without exception. Meaning, I don't care if you're a top producing agent and you've been on the Zillow Flex team for X amount of years and your annual sales volume that doesn't matter to me. Okay. What matters to me is that you live up to the standard. And if you can't live up to the standard, then we're going to remove you from the program, because it's clear that you don't want to be in the program. We're going to build up our roster, build up our bench, train, develop new blood, new fire, new energy, and bring them into the environment to give them an opportunity to create some additional revenue for themselves through the Zillow Flex program, right? Yeah, it was immediate. And one of the reasons why it had to be so immediate and so drastic is because of the condition that the program was in when I came into this seat. We had to make immediate drastic changes. We got some pushback, we got some flack, we got some acceptance. You have to expect that when you're creating such a dramatic shift in a short period of time. Not everyone's going to agree with the shift. You're going to have some of those who buck the system, right? And that's cool. That's their choice. They're just not a good fit for this program in the direction that we're going in, right?
Crazy question, but did you lose agents from that?
Yeah, we had to remove. Yeah, we had to completely turn our roster upside down.
And that's why that's part of probably one of the main reasons you guys have been at the top of the leaderboard for such a long time, because it's like, I don't give a shit. I mean, this is what it's going to be. You know, they say in this business, Vernon, that you don't treat unequal people equally, right? And I get that to a point, but if that person that is here isn't working the expectations of the person here, and this person is and growing, what do you do? I mean, to that point, the unequalness is like flip-flopped, right? Yep. So it's kind of crazy in that way. But what you see, everybody, this is what my point I'm trying to make is you went from a legacy brokerage to, you know, this ain't your daddy's real estate company anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, because let's face it, there's a very low barrier for entry to this business. And reputation isn't where we'd all love it to be, the ones that work our asses off. And you know what? It's not an easy business. I mean, it's simple business, but it's not easy. And it means a lot of work. And we're talking about the fish out of water, climbing a tree, that whole thing before. And it's really important for us to see what's going on. So basically, you know, you had acceptance, you had non-acceptance, you had people leave, you had people stay, you had people come in that were hungry.
Yep.
Was the hunger the big part of it that really made you go from 16 to 1?
It was a combination of things, right? It was one, the standard, first and foremost, the non-negotiables that we set for our team. First of all, as leaders, because leadership starts with self, right? Yep. So we have to abide by the model that we're setting for ourselves. We have to lead by example in action. We have to model what those standards are. And what you then find is that the standards will begin to shape a new culture. It'll shape a new environment. It'll drive the performance. Again, enforcing without any emotion. And I tell agents this all the time when we sit in some of our one-to-one pipeline reviews or our agent performance management sessions. Yo, I like you, Dave. Me and you are baseball guys. We're Yankee fans. You know, we've got a whole bunch of similarities, commonalities, and connecting points. But bro, I don't have anything to do with your performance at this flex program, okay? Because the data tells the story. Your numbers tell the story. So I've got to coach you, Dave, not as if you're my friend, my buddy, and my colleague. I've got to coach you to the standard. There is no emotion in that. And so what that has done is set a premise by which there is an understanding that the standard is the barometer. We're not talking emotion here. We're talking business. And so from that lens, man, what you'll see is folks will rise to the standard that you set for them and that you maintain in front of them. They'll rise to the occasion. And if not, we have this saying in our environment, you either coach up or you coach out. It's your choice.
Yeah. You know, it's different. And I keep saying, I mean, you're holding a line of your standards. You're teaching discipline, not scripts. I think about that a little bit. Right. And then, it's like you said earlier, I mean, it goes with what you had to do. Without any mess, there's no message.
Correct.
You said that earlier, and this got to apply to mostly everything that we do. I mean, and you at number 16, you were through you had a fire that you had to put out, and you had to grow. Principles. I mentioned that word before. You know, principles. What comes up for you is passion, belief, loyalty, drive, communication, a commitment to excellence. Tell me about how that all works with fast agents and you and everything else, with all the principles that you work on and teach.
Good question, man. So our motto at Team Fast is be you, but fast. Okay. And what that means is that each of us have our unique contributions to the environment. We want you to be you, how God created you, in your quirks, in your idiosyncrasies, your vibes, your flow, what you represent, how you present yourself. Be that, because that's your true superpower. But be fast. And so a principle is a guiding measure. It's a baseline. Okay. The principles that we abide by in our environment drive everything that we do. We don't waver on those principles. We don't waver on those standards. We don't waver on those disciplines, because you don't get to be at the top of the food chain by accident. Okay.
No.
You don't succeed accidentally. It's designed with intentionality, right? Action, principle-based action will produce the results that you're looking for, but you've got to hold to that. So in our world, it's all principle-based. Okay. There is nothing that happens by happenstance. And I'm hoping that I'm answering your question.
Oh yeah.
But that's our cornerstone, man. And which is why we've been able to, produce at the capacity, both as a broader team and then in a micro sense with our Zillow, our online leads department, which I'm over under Elias, is these are the guiding principles. You either get with it or you get out the way. There is no other option. Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense because my whole point is, I don't know when I started thinking about it. I think it was John, talking about principles and discipline and everything else, because discipline, I believe, is a skill that's learned. I talk, like, before this, I do a plan and prep session with our agents, right? And I talk about schedule, I talk about discipline, I talk about commitment and all these things. And and then there's accountability. That's another one. That's something else, but it truly looks at, look at the mindset that you had. Look, anything that you did, whether it was right or wrong, you had a discipline to do it. You were committed to doing it, and you were able to roll your mindset. You've always been driven. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the drive kept you going. So, if someone was listening right now and they're at a low point in their business, right? What's the question that they should ask themselves to turn their low feeling of themselves, their low esteem, to drive themselves forward in real estate or in any business? What would you say to them?
Bro, everyone has a reason. We all have a why. Oftentimes, folks' why is external. It's outside of them. Well, I challenge agents and anyone that I'm speaking to, let's go introspective. Okay. That why is in here that only they know, that's important to you. Let's reconnect with that. First and foremost, why are we even here? Why are you doing this work? Why discipline? Why standards? Why consistency? Why principles? Let's talk about that first. So let's reconnect to the why, which is their ultimate driving factor, right? That comes from within. It's not an external force. The answers are here. We just have to get them to explore within, to tap into their why that drives them as the unique individual, and then coach to that individual. Okay. I know it sounds cookie cutter, rediscover your why and all of that, but there really is some power in that if you're searching for the why in the right landscape, which is internally.
I hear what you're saying. And, there's Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And everybody says, oh, what's your why? And what's your why? It's like, what's your sign? Which is kind of corny in and of itself. From years ago, like when I was, back in the dark ages, when I was growing up, mm-hmm. One of the people would say, don't use this pickup line. What's your sign? But the point is, what's your why? Here's the thing, right? There's a great book out there by Todd Herman called The Alter Ego Effect. Mm. Okay, it's a great book, and it is really helpful to a lot of people. If there's this one section that's about this, he calls it a ground punch, right? Mm. Like you get off kilter, you're off center, and it's like this superhero that all of a sudden he's getting beat down. All of a sudden he says, shit, I can't take this anymore. And he remembers why he is who he is, and he comes back. It's called a ground punch. So for me, it's past, it's family, it's a lot of different things. Why are you so driven? And I'm not saying you, Vernon, I'm saying anybody. Why are you so freaking driven to do this? That's your why. If you're not driven, if you don't know what you're doing, if you can't figure out your why, there's the old thing of the going 5 whys deep or 7 whys deep, which has been around forever, and you can do it for yourself. And Todd talks about this in his book as well. But the point I'm making really is, what's the ground punch? What's the thing that's going to say, fuck this, I got to get this done? And just get deep into that ground punch.
Bro, it's all internal. You just hit the nail on the head, Dave. What is driving me? Why do I wake up in the morning committed? Bro, I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning, Pacific Standard Time. I'm in the gym by 6:15 after I've had my coffee and meditation. Sometimes I don't feel like it, right? Sometimes I don't want to go. It's cold outside. It's hot. However, for me, I want to be in optimal shape. I'm 50 years old. I want to look like you, Dave, when I start to age, right? Like,
I don't know how to take that one.
take it as a compliment. But my point is this: my purpose is precious to me.
Yep.
Okay? If I need an external force to motivate me, I'm going to be in these peaks and valleys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be up and down. I'm going to be on an emotional roller coaster. I'm going to be on a production roller coaster because I'm looking for something outside of me to inspire me to do what I need to do so that I can live my best life in life. Bro, that's the wrong approach. Okay. It's here for me. My why is I want to be successful. Period. I want to create a generational legacy. I want to break generational curses that have been passed down from generation to generation in my family. I want to be something different. That drives me. I want to look a certain way. I want to feel a certain way. So, okay, Vernon, then what do you have to do for you in order for you to accomplish that goal? That's the introspective exploration that's necessary for everyone. If you're looking outside of yourself, you're looking in the wrong place. And that's just the model that I live by.
Yeah, and I want everybody to understand is like to do the introspection, maybe go 5-7 whys deeps. Sometimes you're not going to find it.
Yeah.
You might find something, but you're not going to find it. And it takes to be honest, I sold my brokerage just about 8 years ago. I knew what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to do it, but I didn't have a drive. I didn't know what the hell I was doing and why I was doing it. I had been successful. I was up, I was down, didn't really need to work. I wanted to do this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going to tell you that it wasn't up until a few months ago that I really understood, or I take that back. I didn't have a drive. I have a drive now. I know what I want to do. I know why I want to do it. I know how I want to do it. And now it's a matter of practicing what I preach with plan and prep, with discipline, setting my own standards and my own expectations. And I think if everybody can do that, look, you've done it your whole life, man. You knew what you wanted to do. You said, oh, okay, so you maybe you needed to revise shit, but still, you've come through a lot of different things. And you use real estate as your vehicle to get to helping people again. For me, all our stories have peaks and valleys, right? Yeah. You don't need to confront shit on your own. We're here. You know what I mean?
100%. Dave, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I just heard you just shared with us that you didn't know what your why was, why you were doing certain things and so forth with your brokerage and the success and all of that. And it wasn't until the most recent past that you really discovered, let's use that term, you really discovered what's really driving you. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about like that introspective process? Because clearly it had nothing to do with external driving factors. It had everything to do with you discovering what led to that. So what led to it is I've been trying to think for years and years, what's my drive? My two girls are in their 30s. One has two beautiful little boys. One has two beautiful little girls coming, right? Nice. So it's like they're doing well, support. Yeah, they've got shit figured out. And if they don't, they know they can figure it out. And I'm there to support them. Yeah. But it wasn't them. It wasn't like building for that or sending them to college. It wasn't that. What was it for? So it had to be something internal to me. So, okay, so let me help real estate agents. Well, I enjoyed that. When I owned my brokerage, I think the thing that made me feel the best was when an agent came and said, Dave, I tried what you said and it worked. I got a listing, or I did this, I negotiated this. Yeah. That they actually used what they heard, and I wasn't like talking to a fucking wall like I thought I was all the time. Right. Because that was your legacy brokerages, right? Where it wasn't, it was your daddy's old style brokers. Anyway, so then I said, well, what the fuck is it? What is it? What is going to drive me? What is going to make me move? What is going to excite me? Then I realized over the years of my career, what I really like to do.
knowing what you like to do is one thing.
Yep.
But that's not really the drive.
Nope.
If you're not doing what you like to do, why the fuck aren't you doing it?
Yep.
That was the change.
So
that was the change. And I realized why I stopped and why I let others stop me. I let others get in my way and I diminished my own self. This has to do with family, has to do with a lot of things. I'm the youngest of 8 kids, so you can think about what that could mean.
Yeah.
And I was the different one in the family. My brother, one of my older brothers said to me once, he says, you got a different gene than all of us, right? You would never see anyone in my family doing shit like this. You'd never see them, you never see them on social media. You'll see my sister on social media and she's just there to see what's going on and to post stuff about her kids, which is freaking great, right? But the thing is that I'm just different than all of them. And I guess you could say I was misunderstood. I guess you could say that, look, I'm the only one of our family that really stayed in New Jersey. So we do things differently here in New Jersey. We really do. We talk a different language. We mean the same thing. Yeah. We're arrogant. We're abrupt, right? We just are. Yeah. I can tell you why, but I'm not going to go into that now.
Okay.
But there's something about Northern New Jersey, Manhattan, that area. There's something about that where everybody immigrated from. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I finally realized, Vernon, what I wanted to do and why I didn't do it. The why I didn't do it, who got in my way, why they got in my way, and the anger that I have felt for years and years and years is my ground punch. It's what? So, go ahead.
You discovered your purpose for existence by going in, blocking out the external factors, reconnecting to what drives you. Why are you here? What do I have to contribute? You accepted that, and then you began to put that into action, is what I'm hearing you say. See, we all have a purpose for being here. We all have a contribution. Okay. Oftentimes, life's circumstances, the decisions that we make or did not make, began to compound on top of us and stifle what our true purpose, passion, and burning internally is for ourselves. And we began to do things to appease others, not staying true to ourselves. Listen, Dave, you came into this world by yourself, bro. You're going to leave this world by yourself. The dash between your birth date and your death date should be driven and rooted in you, what you want to do, what drives you as an individual, no matter the mistakes that you made. Because here's a piece of game for everybody, Dave. We may have done what they said that we've done, but we're not who they say that we are. Okay. And what that means is yeah, man, I've done some shit in my life that I'm not proud of. I've accumulated these strikes, and I ain't talking baseball. I'm talking criminal justice system. And oftentimes, I may have done what they said that I did on paper, but that's not who I am as a man,
right?
As a human being. I had to discover who I am and accept who I am that has a place in this world, and then be relentless about walking that out, no matter what it looks like, who likes it, who doesn't. It doesn't matter.
When you do things because you're afraid of what other people are going to think, or if you do things because you allow other people to control you, and I'm not talking about the criminal justice system. I'm talking about family. I'm talking about, what they control you. You turn, if you are an outgoing person, you just turned yourself from an extrovert to an introvert. Yep. Where you say, you know what, and you lose confidence.
Yep.
Right. So what I had to learn was shit. I've grown up so many times over the past 8 years in my lifetime. But over the past year or so, I had to grow up again and say, who am I really? I want to be me. And I realized over those years that I wasn't really, over the past 15 years or so, 20 years ago, I wasn't me. I wasn't me. Me is doing this. Me is talking like this. I mean, of course, I did this 377 times, but this was the only outlet I had. Now, instead of sitting and just listening in a meeting, I'm talking up and giving my opinion because I didn't value myself before. And when I realized why I was stopped and what stopped me, I said, I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it's time not to sit on my ass anymore and get rolling. And you know what? I feel so much better. Things are happening because of it. I don't mean to take over this is for you. This isn't my show.
Hey, this is good. No, listen, we're having a conversation, and what you're talking about is discovering your superpower, Dave. You discovered your superpower that we all have, right? It takes courage, bro. It takes determination to go in and discover your superpower, accept that is who you are and how you were made, and then live from it, like manifest that into this earth realm. Why? That's your unique contribution. Dave, I can't contribute what you contribute. There's only one Dave. Dave has a very unique fingerprint on his thumb. There is no other fingerprint like Dave's on his thumb. There is no other fingerprint like Vernon's on his index finger. What that means is we are fearfully, wonderfully, and uniquely created as individuals, and we all have a contribution. We oftentimes, and I heard something, you spoke to something, you didn't use the word, but I'm going to use the term identity. Yeah. You found your identity. Okay. Yeah. And not what other people said you should be doing, or other people said you should be like, or you remind me of your brother, or you look like your dad, or get the hell out my face. No. You have your own unique identity that the world needs. It's a matter of you believing that you have something of value, is the term that you just used. And that's what this is all about. That's how you produce top producers. That's how you develop human beings. Everyone has a superpower. Leading them to the discovery of their superpower, regardless of what industry one works in, is where the money is, bro. And that's what our work is designed around. And that is how we're able to produce at a high level, because we're tapping into the human being, right? We're tapping into the human being, their self-image of self, restricting limited ideas that they entertain and so forth. You've been in our intensity program. We read in our program. So I think your class was Limitless that we were reading. Right. So in that book by Jim Quick, if you never read it, please read it. But it's talking about those limited ideas entertained that are transferred over, right? To where we don't have an opportunity to really cultivate our own identity, where identity is passed down on what we should be, where we're from, what the color of our skin, the neighborhood we came from, our social economic status, and so forth, oftentimes frames the perspective of individuals. Man, we got people in, let me just say this, the most gifted people, the most talented, articulate, gifted folks will never see daylight a day in their life again. They're either in the grave, under-delivered, or they're in a prison cell. That's where you're gonna find the most unused, underappreciated gifts, man. You and I have an opportunity that we've been forged by fire. Okay, we've come through the mud. I collect swords, knives, and spears. I'm fascinated by them. I've got a big old Chronicles of Narnia sword hanging on my wall in my living room with the big gold head. I'm fascinated by how they take a raw material and then they construct something that is so beautiful, so sharp, so appealing. It's being forged in fire. It's being banged on and hit on and hammered on and shaped and manipulated and put back into the fire, to where now it comes out as this beautiful masterpiece that people will pay X amount of dollars for. How did they get to that point? How did we get here, Dave? Folks, the viewers, how did you get where you are? You were forged through the fire, and that's what qualifies you, Dave. That's what qualifies me to do the work.
Absolutely. I want Vernon mentioned a book. I mentioned a book. I want to tell everybody that will be watching this or is watching it, is that books are not your answer. However, they can support you, right? there's so many self-help books out there. I don't think Limitless is a self-help book. I think it's a knowledge book,
Yep.
As well as alter ego. I know so many people that have an alter ego that use it on a regular basis, and they're some of the greatest people that you will meet. I mean, just recently, just for recent history, I mean, if you look at the new show that just came out on HBO about Billy Joel, right? He talks about, he didn't want to be Billy Joel anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't want to, that was one of the things. He was on stage, he was one guy, right?
Yeah.
So I just use that because of timing right now, because I just finished it last night. Look, the books are going to help you, but they're not going to give you. You've got to really do some deep dive into your own soul and deep dive into, why am I like the way I am? Yeah. And I don't know if you're going to find an answer, but what I do know is this: just keep going. So hey man, let me ask you a couple of quick questions, right?
Sure.
You had to deal with a lot of uncomfortable truths in your life, right? And we're talking about that and learning about ourselves, learning about discipline, learning about sticking to standards.
Yep.
And one of the uncomfortable truths is that we can't do the work, or we don't want to do the work, or we don't want to make the calls. How do you get through the uncomfortable truths?
Man, that is such a powerful question. We all come to a place in our lives where the story that has been told to us isn't serving us anymore. I'm sure there are folks who are watching this or will be watching this later have shared this experience or this thought. There's more to me. Right. There's more. I have more to contribute. I don't belong here. I know that there's more. I can feel it inside. Bro, that process of discovery, that process of facing that truth, of accepting that truth, of transforming an identity crisis, of evolving into who you really are, that shit is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But what is more uncomfortable is living in regret.
Oh man, I said that earlier today.
That's it's either you're going to live in regret for not giving yourself a chance, or you're going to fly like a freaking eagle, take the risk, soar towards the sun, and just let yourselves in your limitless possibilities, let them manifest themselves. Is it scary? Yeah. Why? Because not many people teach that. We live in a cookie cutter world. They want you to just clock in, clock out, sit down, shut up, go to class, be quiet, take note. It's robotic. But we don't design that way. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, I use this phrase all the time. The feeling or the pain of discipline is much better than the pain of regret.
You damn right.
So, and how many people out there, if you're listening to this, live in regret? It's like, okay, so I start business planning now for next year.
Yeah.
I don't wait till November. I don't wait till October. I start it now because I look back at the 12 months and I go forward. That's just something that I do that has worked really well for me, because all the changes I want to make, I put in play no later than November. And if it ain't working, I can tweak it by the time January comes, right? So, and I look at this every year. I've lived in regret for a long time. I ain't living in regret no more. It's time to get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
100%.
And so I say this to everybody, and anyone that could ever hear me, is really simple. Stop living in regret and do something about it. Because I tell you what, when you don't have to say, well, I wish I did this and I didn't do that, I wish I had done this, when you don't have to say that anymore, the peace that you're going to have,
it surpasses all understanding. It surpasses all understanding.
Right.
That peace. Right. And you had just spoken to something a bit earlier about, living in regret. And I too can attest to that. While I was trying to figure out who I am, And so my sentiment would be this: give yourself a chance, right? Like, take a risk on you. There's many of us who have risked our peace and well-being for others. We have lent out, our superpower. We forfeited ourselves. But give yourself a chance, and you'll be surprised at the result by you taking a chance, stepping out, and betting on you. That's
right.
what money is, man.
Right. That's right. Hey, man, this has been, believe it or not, as of this second, 60 minutes that have flown by.
Man, that was fun.
I don't go this long. I want to thank you so much for the conversation, for the enlightenment that hopefully we have given a lot of people today. And just, love and peace to everybody. And I have to ask, I have one question before we finish, and one other thing is,
sure.
How do I help you grow your business?
Well, you're doing it now, Dave. You're giving me the opportunity to express myself and to, present who I am as a human being and an individual. I'm grateful for that. You've got my information, down here at the tagline. If anyone wants to connect with me, my Calendly link is at the bottom of the graphic here. My Instagram is also there. But this is how you help me in my business by our iron sharpens iron. And this is what this looks like right now. We're sharpening one another. Yep. But this opportunity here, bro, you're helping me. You opened up a door. You've given me an opportunity to share a little bit about myself, my past, my history, my journey, my story, and how I've gotten to this point today, to hopefully be able to be a beacon of light for someone else, because we all go through shit. And again, without mess, there will be no message. So you've given me an opportunity to share my message through the mess that I've been through that has gotten me to this point, to hopefully someone can connect to it and say, yo, I want to learn a little bit more about that. Can you help me work through some things? I'm struggling in my business. Do you have some tips, some pointers, some strategies, some game that you can give me to help me tap into my superpower so that I can thrive? Because I don't want to live in regret. I want to live in vibrance. I want to thrive. You've provided me that opportunity, bro. And I'm extremely grateful to you, Dave.
Well, I'm grateful for you, man. And this has been great. I love doing these, and I'm going to keep going. And of course,
let's go.
Everybody gets the hat, man. So this is coming out to you. Hey guys, we'll have another great episode next week. We got great stuff coming up. We're building toward the fourth quarter. We've got great people coming up. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Nordens, just stay on as we go out. Everybody, peace. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. God bless you all. Thank you so much.